Dav Kuf Chof Beis Amud Aleph will begin Dav Kuf Chof Aleph Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Continuing on with memories of Rav Abba Bar Kana. Rav Abba Bar Kana, Rav Chanina, Pemutoy Shel Beis Rebbe, the lanterns and menorahs of Beis Rebbe, Mutar L'Taltalem B'Shabbos. It's mutar to be metaltal these menorahs on Shabbos. Rashi mentions that they're not made out of components. They're not made out of different components. It's one piece, because if they are made out of different components, we were afraid that if it fell, he would then put them back together, and then they would involve a malacha, potential malacha makif b'patish, or according to Taisus, perhaps even binyan. So therefore, we're talking where it's not made of components. Other Rishonim speak out as well, is that we're talking where it was not lit on Shabbos, and there's therefore no muksa problem. It's not a question of muksa, and not muksa machmas isra or muksa machas miyas. But the lanterns themselves, the menorahs themselves, would be mutar to be metaltal on Shabbos. Are we talking where very heavy ones, where you can take them in one hand, or even in 2 hands? He says, like those on your father's home. The way Rashi learns it, meaning dafka, the small ones. If they were very large ones, it would be also, because then you'd be koivei makam, it would be considered like a heavy piece of furniture which you don't move, which would be muksa. So he says it's dafka kaisen shel beis avicha, which are the small ones. Taisus, other Rishonim learn differently and learn the opposite. It means even the large ones. Those are also not muksa, even the large ones. And as they see from the following Maisa, that it seems to be clearly, they say, to indicate that we're talking about even larger ones. The wagons of Beis Rebbe, the Kohen shel Beis Rebbe, mutar l'taltalem b'Shabbos. These are used for transporting people, and therefore it's mutar to be metaltal Shabbos is not considered to be muksa. Again, the question was, are they light ones or heavy ones? Are they ones that can be carried with 1 hand or even 2 hands? Do we say that they're very heavy, that to be considered muksa? He said, like the ones from your father's house. Again, Rashi learns that meaning only the small ones, not the big ones. Other Rishonim learn mean even the big ones. He said, where the goyim are transporting the wine. So they were transporting to the house of Rebbe, even though they only had 1 seal, the yain only had 1 seal on it, it was still mutter. We're not chayshish that the nochri would touch the yain and make it yain nesach or stam yain to aser it. We're not chayshish for that. Even with 1 seal, it's considered protected. And I don't know if the reason he was matrid is because he holds like Rabbi Eliezer that choisem mecha generally is mutter, so there's no problem because he holds 1 seal is enough. Or perhaps no, he doesn't hold like Rabbi Eliezer, and normally you would need 2 seals, you need a double seal. But over here he's matrid because Rabbi's household, that was the house of the Nasi, and over here we're not concerned that the Nochri would tamper with it because he would have the fear of tampering with something that was being sent to the house of the Nasiya. But maybe normally for other people you would need 2 seals. He didn't know which way, what was the reason for the heter. Zok the Mishnah, Nochri shed like a sun here. If a Nochri lit a candle for himself, Mishtamish lo Yisrael. A Yid, nevertheless, his mutter is allowed to benefit, to use the light. But being Bishvil Yisrael also. But if he did it for the Yisrael, for the benefit of Yisrael, it's also. Now we know Amir l'Nochri is shus. It's an Isser d'Rabbanan to tell a Nochri to do Malach on Shabbos. The Rabbanan also aser getting benefit from something that was done for Yid, even if he didn't tell him to do it, even if the Yisrael did not tell the Nochri to do it, getting benefit from it is also aser, because he might come to tell the Nochri to do it. If the Nochri drew the water, and he brought water, meaning so he carried, did malach of carrying from the Rishus Harab to Rishus Yachin, he did it to give water to his animal, Mashkach of Yisrael. Yisrael afterwards, and we'll see that the Gemara, the Achrav is Davka, and like the Vir Aloha says, because we'll see that we cannot do it. If he is doing it for the benefit of the Yisrael, then it's also. So it has to be Mashka Achar Yisrael if the Yinochri did it for himself. And then after the fact, the Yisrael goes ahead and uses that water, it's mutter. But if he Mishal Yisrael also, but if he did it for the Yisrael, and there was, like we said, we'll see in the Gemara, that if the Yisrael is present, that makes a difference. But even Bishal Yisrael, if he did it for the Yisrael, it's also. Also, Nochi Kevish Leirboy, if they were on a ship and the Nochi made a plank to go down and now leave the boat, to exit the boat, so he built this Kevish, Yarnachim Yisrael. The Yisrael can use it. But if he did it for the benefit of Yisrael, also. And there was a mice that they traveled on the ship, and he Nachri made a kevish lirboy, Yarboy, Rabbi Gamil of Zakanim. And Rabbi Gamil of Zakanim, they used it. It was not made for their benefit, so they were able to use it and have hanoah from it. And the Gemara in Eruvin brings down this Maisa, and it's now how the reason they were able to leave the ship is because Rabbi Gamliel said that he checked with his telescope. He checked and he saw that they were within the tchum of the city before the onset of Shabbos. Therefore, since they were in the tchum of the city, they didn't have an isser of tchumim. They were able to leave the ship. So you see from these three mices this principle that if a Nochri does the malacha for himself, then Yisrael can get benefit from. But if he did it for the Yisrael, then it's awesome. Look, the Gemara Tzricha, we need all these three cases. The Yashmin and Ner, if it only told me the case of the Ner, Mishum, the Ner Lecha, Ner Lamea. Because nothing is added on by lighting the Ner. You light a Ner, it benefits one, it benefits 100. So over there, if the Nochri did it for himself, we're not concerned that perhaps he did something more for the Yisrael, or he will do more for the Yisrael. But Mayim, Ligzer, Dilmi also Lafushim for Yisrael. But water, it's not the same amount of water that's needed for 1 or 100. So perhaps over there we should be geyser that the Nochri will increase the amount and draw more and might see more for the benefit of Yisrael. Frankly, more of a kevish lamali. What do we need this kevish? That nothing is being added with the mice of the kevish. When it says Echanami, Maisa Rabbi Gamliel was a Kain Gamashlan. Wants to tell me, to show me the Maisa Shahaya, that this is what they did. Ton Rabban Nachri Shalikid Asovim, if the Nachri picked grass on Shabbos, Machalach of Yisrael. The Yisrael can then have his animal, he can feed his animal from it, from that grass. But Vimishal Yisrael also. But if he did it for the Yisrael, then it's awesome. But also. So the same principle that we learned in the Mishnah. But now we add on. Aval also. But if he is makir him, if the Nochri knows the Yid, he's acquainted with, he knows him, then it's also. So we will discuss this point shortly in the Gemara. But the Gemara asks, Ini. Now, going to the ratios, says, Nochri shalikid asov machal Yisrael, Ini v'amar avhuna amar of chanina, mamid adam behemt al gabe asov mishabes. A person can lead his animal on asovim, on grass which is mechuber, which is growing from the ground on Shabbos, and the animal can graze there. He can lead his animal to graze there on Shabbos. Avaloy al gabe muksa b'Shabbos, but not a muksa. Because if it's grass that's growing, it's mechuber to the ground, we're not afraid that the person will pick the grass, will be kaitzer the grass and feed it to his animal, because it's a malacha d'oraisa. But he can't lead him to muksa, grass which is muksa, because over there we're afraid it's not an isser d'oraisa. We're afraid he'll pick it up and feed it to his animal, and then it'll be metal on the muksa. Now over here, how can it say that the nochri is feeding his animal, he's likid asovim, so he's picking the grass, and then Yisrael, there's machalach Yisrael, that grass on the onset of Shabbos was muksa. It was growing from the ground, and now it's detached. How can the Yisrael be machaled? He's being machal as behema muksa, Gemara answers the koim lebapa. It doesn't mean that he actually feeds it to him, or leads it to that grass. He blocks its way. He blocks the animal's way so that the animal mela goes to that area and eats the grass. But he's not standing next to the grass, which is muksa. The koim lebeva asli va'achla. He stands in its way, and the animal goes on its own and eats it. When do we say that the Yisrael can benefit from the malacha that the Nachri did if the Nachri does not know the Yisrael? Avol Makira also, but if he does, it's awesome. I frankly more have Rabbi Gamliel, Makira have and Rabbi Gamliel, they were on the ship, and the one Nachri that built the Kevesh was Makri, knew Rabbi Gamliel. Amar Rabbi Shalei b'fon of Havah. Baya says he built it not in front of Rabbi Gamliel. So therefore, it's considered loy makir. Meaning, we thought that makir means as long as they are acquainted with each other. Now, by saying that's not what it means. What it means is that it's shaloi b'fon, that it was shaloi b'fonav. That we say makir means if the person, the Yisrael, is in front of the Nochri while he's doing it, there we would be chayshish that he's doing it for the Yisrael. But if they're not together, meaning so to speak, they're not acquainted, they're not together at the same time, when the Nachri is doing the malacha, then there's no reason to suspect that he's doing it for the Yisrael. But if they're there together at the same time, then we consider it like he's doing it for the Yisrael, and it's also. Rav Amar, a different teres, Amar afilotem b'fona. You can say that he knows, the Nachri knows Yisrael, and even if the Yisrael is b'fonim, he's present at the time of the malacha. But ner lecha, ner lemeya. But if it's in a case where he's not adding anything, there's no reason to think that he's doing anything extra for the Yisrael, then it's mutter. So it's mutter even if he's present at the time of the malacha. But if there's no reason to think he's adding anything for the Yisrael, it's mutter. So therefore, if he lights a candle, it's lighting the candle whether one person uses it or 100. There's nothing to be added, that it's mutter. Meisel asyu akasha, amar lamar rabban bliel, hoil shlei b'fanenu, aso nered boim. Well, in the Maisa of Rabban Gamliel on the ship, it says over here in the Brisa, the Rabban Gamliel said, hoil shlei b'fanenu, so since we were not present at the time that he did it, we can go down. So l'chayre, it's a kasha on Rava. Over here, you see, it seems to be the criteria is whether they're present at the time or not. Now, what's the difference if they were present or not? According to Rava, it's kevish le'achad, kevish l'meya. It's one plank that people go down the same ramp. They go down the same ramp, whether one person uses it or 100 people use it. Ema hoil v'aso nered boy. The Ikar criteria is not shalei b'fanav. I mean, hoil v'aso, he already did it. So he didn't do it for us. He did it. He did it for himself. So we can go down on it. Meaning, the way Rashi is learning it is, it says hoil shalei b'fanenu. But that's just quoting the Maisa Shahaya. The Maisa Shahaya was done not in front of us. But that's not the Ikar criteria. The Ikar point of it is that since it's done already, it happens to be that the Maisa was that the Maisa Shahaya was Shalei B'fanenu. But the Ikar criteria is that since it's done, he did it, and Kevish Lechad, Kevish Lameya, we can use it. He's not doing it for us. So I'll ask you a kasha. This is a kasha both on Abai and both on Rava. Irshi Yisrael v'Nochem Dar Masechet. If it's a city that Yisrael v'Nochem were living there, if there was a bathhouse that they were using on Shabbos, so they, in those days, to make the bathhouse, they had to heat it up, and they heat it up by burning coals or burning wood on it, and if it was going to be used for Motzei Shabbos, they would have to heat it up on Shabbos. So therefore, they would be doing the Maloch of Avora. So here's Yisrael Nachem Dar B'Seicha Haisa B'Merachas Merchasaz B'Shabbos Imroi Nachem. If most people in the city are Nachem Mutalichas B'Miyad, then Motzei Shabbos Yisrael, the Yidden, can use it right away. They don't have to wait. Im Rav Yisrael Yamten B'chtei She'chamu Chamin. But if not, then it's also they can't get any benefit from the Malach of the Zan Shabbos. They have to wait Motzei Shabbos, enough time that it would take to heat it up from scratch from the beginning to begin with the Motzei Shabbos. They can't get any benefit from it. So you see what the criteria does not seem to be whether they're in front of them or not. Over here, you have both according to Abai and both according to Rava. According to Rava, Ner Lechad Ner Lameya, they have to heat up the bathhouse. What difference does it make how many people use it? And yet, if most people in the city are Yisrael, then it's also. According to Abaya, they're not Befanenu, and yet, still the criteria is if most are Roiv Yisrael or Roiv not Yisrael. The more answers, Hasam Ki Mechamemi Adaita Deru Mechamemi. We say is as follows. The principle over there is we say that they're doing it for the benefit of the majority of the people over in the city. So therefore, if the Nochri does it for the Yisrael, I mean, if he does it expressly, and Nochri does it for this Yisrael, whether he's in front of the Yisrael, he's not present at the time, whereas Ner Lecha, Ner Lameya, but if he's doing it specifically for this Yisrael, it's also. If Roiv of the people are Yisrael, the bathhouse attendant, the one who's heating it up, he's considered doing it for this Yisrael, so it's also. Tashma ner hadalak b'mesiba. If there's a ner that's lit in a mesiba, in a party. Im roiv nachrim muter nishtamish loyer. If there's most nachrim, then Yisrael can use the oil, because it's done for the noch. Im roiv Yisrael also. If roiv Yisrael, it's also merzal also. If it's merzal, then it's also. Then we treat it as also. Now over here, we say that if the roiv are nachrim, it's mutter. If roiv Yisrael, it's also merzal also. Why don't we apply the principle of ner le'echa, ner lameya? Why don't we say, well, they're lighting the candles, they're not lighting anymore for the Yisrael. They have to light up the room, and they're lighting up the room whether the Yisrael is there or not. So according to Rava, why isn't this shver? Why don't we say ner echa ner lameya? More answers. Awesome. Nami ki madlaki adaita deruba madlaki. The same type of idea. We say that it's considered that if there's a Roiv Yisrael, that the Nokri is lighting it specifically for the Yisrael. So, and therefore, if he's doing it for the Yisrael, then of course it's also. And Rashi points out that if it's Mechsal Mechsa, therefore it's possible that that's his das to do it for the Yisrael, so it's also awesome. Shmuel Ikla Lebe Avent Horan. Also, he came and he lit a candle. Hadrina Shmuel Ape, he turned around, he turned away from it. He didn't want to get any benefit from it. He turned away because he was chayshish that he did it for him. But cave in the chaza, the icy shtar kakori. But once he saw that the Nochri was reading from it, he took a shtar and he was reading the candle, so therefore it indicated that he was doing it for himself. So Omar Adaita the Nafshehu the Adlik. So he said, oh, I see that he did it for himself. He didn't do it for me, and therefore he turned the other way, and he also was able to benefit from the ner. So the Rosh is dying from here that we say that it's Roiv Yisrael, that it's also these types of situations. That we say that it's also, it's only if we don't know what the intent of the Nochri is. But if we know that the intent of the Nochri is specifically to light it for himself or for a Nochri, and not for Yisrael, then you would say it's mutter. Then it would be mutter if we know specifically that his intent is for the goy, for the goy, like in this case, that the Nochri was lit the candle. He lit it in front of and Shmuel, and nevertheless it was mutter once we have an indication that he did it for himself. Beis Yosef has a clear over here. It says that Shmuel was mahadril ape. He turned away from the ner. He turned away from it. Is that he turned? Is that maker din? Meaning, if the guy did the malacha for the Yisrael, you can't benefit from it. Does that mean that you can't benefit, and you also must turn away from it? Or do we say no, that Shmuel turned away from it, that was a midas chasidus. You can't get hano from it. But that he turned away from it, that was a midas chasidus. So that's a shaila. Hadron la kol kisvei, hadron la kol kisvei, hadron la kol kisvei.